like to be rich and have lots of money? I would, of course. But unfortunately, I am not rich. I am rather poor. Every time when I look in my pocketbook, I find myself saying with a big sigh, "Oh, money, money." Money in phonetic Japanese sometimes sounds like no more, which means it sounds like monet, which means no more. But seriously, I do know that money is not everything. But it's certainly nice to have, isn't it? Rich people are sometimes big misers, very stingy and careful with their money. Once there lived an old merchant whose name was Kaishi-kai. He was an extreme miser, as his name showed. By working very hard all his life and pinching pennies, he accumulated quite a fortune. He had 3 sons, but they were notorious playboys in town. What with drinking, gambling, and womanizing, they spent their father's money like water. So Kaishi-kai was very much concerned about what might become of his fortune after he died. One day he summoned his sons for a talk, hopefully to decide the right person to take over his business. The eldest Taro was the first to come. "Oh, come in, Taro. Have a seat. I want to ask you something, but this may be rather too soon, but what if I were to die?" "Father, what a horrible thought! Are you out of your mind?" "Take it easy, son. Just suppose, if I were to die, what sort of funeral would you hold for me? Just give me an idea." "All right, Father, if you insist. If you would pass away in the distant future, we would, of course, hold a special funeral." "Oh, how special?" "Well, as you know, I believe in doing things right. So your funeral would have to be a magnificent spectacle. Well, first of all, we would hold your funeral at a great temple, big enough to accommodate many people. After the ceremony is over, we would serve our guests a full-course meal of the finest gourmet cuisine with lots of good sake. And of course, we would give every guest a gift wrapped in a beautiful silk froshiki. Also, a small envelope with some money in it as taxi fare would be discreetly attached to each gift. You know, people would come from far and near." "Oh, Taro, it's only a funeral, for heaven's sake. Nobody expects a full-course meal, gift, and taxi fare at the funeral." "Well, go on. What about my coffin?" "Oh, coffin? Since this would be, after all, your once-in-a-lifetime event, the coffin would be made of the finest and the most expensive material available. It should be of fragrant hardwood, custom fitted, and 4 inches in wall thickness. Oh, that's mottai Taro. The coffin gets burned anyway. Do you know how much a coffin like that would cost? Father, nothing is too mottai for you. A coffin of that size would be burning all night long at the crematorium, filling the whole city with a lovely scent. Oh, it takes my breath away just to think of it. It takes my breath away too. Just how many people would you plan to invite? Well, let's say about 3,000. 3,000? A full-course meal, gifts, plus taxi fare for 3,000 people? Are you crazy? Oh my, ridiculous. One thing I tell you, son, I would not dare die while you are still alive. Away with you. Send in your brother. Then Jiro comes in. Come in, Jiro. Have a seat. Oh, listen. Suppose I were to die. Father, never mind. Just suppose. What sort of funeral would you hold for me? Funeral for you, Father? Well, as you know, I believe in doing things right, so your funeral would have to be a magnificent spectacle, something the world has never seen before. Oh my goodness. Here we go again. We'll go on. First, we would have a parade, a great procession in town, marching and singing. That's how we would start. Then comes a float. A float? You mean dashi? What are you talking about? Oh, it's not just an average float. We would have a famous bunraku puppet craftsman make a life-size puppet, looking just like you. And this would stand right on top of the float. And since you have dedicated your life to keeping your accounts straight, we would put a soroban or abacus in its left hand. And its face would have your usual hard expression, as if you were about to end up someone's account. And of course, we cannot have a float without music. So a band would be playing music from the time we left the house. Drums, flutes, shamisen, and so on. Then comes a mikoshi. Mikoshi, you mean a portable shrine at the funeral? Yes, Father. The mikoshi would carry your ashes in a porcelain jar, and we would have the strongest men in town carry the mikoshi. Everyone would be marching along with the mikoshi and chanting, "Washoi, washoi, 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 washoi." Oh, I cannot wait for your big day, Father. Shut up, you fool. That's enough. Get the hell out of here. Jiro leaves, and his father is muttering to himself how he ever came to be cursed with such hopeless spendthrift sons. Then comes in Saburo. it's you, Saburo. Come in and have a seat. Now listen. If I were to die, yes, Father, suppose I were to die, what sort of funeral would you hold for? Well, I suppose we would have to hold some sort of funeral for form's sake. So tell me about it. What sort of funeral would it be? Well, we would have to invite some guests, of course. First, I would tell everyone that the coffin would be taken to the crematorium at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but actually we would take it away at 12. 12 noon? But then everyone would miss the ceremony. Exactly. People would show up at 1 o'clock, and I would tell them, terribly sorry, folks, but due to a sudden change in the schedule at the crematorium, the coffin had to leave 1 hour ago. Oh, they would say, what a shame. We so much wanted to see him off. Then they would just offer a stick of incense in front of the picture and leave. This way, Father, we would not have to serve them any food and drinks. Oh, that's a brilliant idea. Hiro, Saburo, excuse me. Well, coffee. What about my coffee? Oh, the coffin just gets burned. So, no sense of wasting money on something we are going to burn. So I would get one of the old pickle barrels out from the storehouse and stuff your body in that barrel, with your permission, of course. Pickle barrel? You mean you would put me in Tsukemono-daru? What about the terrible smell? Father, you would be dead. You wouldn't smell anything. Oh, that's true, quite true. What about my the padding in the coffin? You can buy that at the undertaker's, I suppose. Yes, Father, but I'm not sure whether we should spend money there. If you don't mind, I want to use some old newspapers and magazines. Newspapers and magazines? Yes, Father. After all, they are going to get burnt with the rest of the stuff. And once we close the lid, no one would notice. We would tie ropes around the barrel, pass a bamboo pole through the ropes to carry the barrel. This way, Father, no need to hire a big, luxurious limousine. Oh, you said it. That's the way it should be, Saburo. Well, when taking the barrel to the crematorium, I would take one end of the pole and your son. Well, I suppose I would have to hire someone to take the other end. Hire someone? Don't you dare. Don't you dare, son. I would pop out of the barrel and take the other end myself.